All right, Virgo, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. If you're already familiar with this space, that is, but welcome in if you are new to the Mother Tressa experience. Feel free to come in as you are, wherever you are energetically, be it positive, negative, or neutral. It really doesn't matter so long as you leave better than you came. I want to point out that as I was shuffling and preparing to do the reading for you guys, that I split the deck in half, and at the bottom of the deck on one side was the Strength card and on the other side was the Sun. I don't think I've ever seen the cards in that arrangement like that before, so it's pretty interesting. I'm interested to see what comes through for you guys here. Starting out with some fire energy. Overlying, you have the Six of Wands. So this is feeling victorious. This is feeling very confident and self-assured with what it is that you are doing, because again, Wands energy is action oriented. So you guys are developing, if you haven't already developed some strength and some courage and bravery to go forth and to present whatever idea you have, to go forth and really be that chivalrous, I want to say like knight, if you will, if you are courting somebody and going through that dating process, as far as being able to make a stance. That's the word that's coming through, and really be able to give those public displays of affection, as far as showing your partner off, or just flaunting and allowing for them to shine, rightfully so, in their moment whenever it comes, and you being in the background and applauding them. This can be vice versa energy, right? Energy is fluid. But the Cruise that hounds you guys, you have the Five of Swords, which is Saturnian energy. This can be you being very stiff and stuck and rigid in your ways to some degree in some area of your life, and you not wanting to budge. So for some of you guys, you're feeling a surge of romance and wanting, again, to make those public displays of affection, or to take a stance and make that type of public statement. Again, if it's not about love, then it's about what you're doing on a career front, and or the way that you interact with those in your circle of influence, like your family and your friends, and just being more so, I don't want to say pompous, and I don't want to say arrogant, but again, just being a little bit more confident and strutting your stuff, you know, and people are taking notice of that for some of you. But as we play to extremes, you know, there's always like a scale that we exist on, if you would like to put it that way. For those that aren't feeling that, or aren't in those moments of glory and or victory and or giving glory and or giving thanks to the universe for all that has transpired and all the obstacles that you have been able to overcome, then on the other end, this is you, because you're so prideful and you not wanting to be that person that takes center stage and wanting to be center of attention, and or just not wanting to put your pride aside in loving situations, then that's what's stopping you. Your pride is what's stopping you here with this Five of Swords, because this is you having to recognize what your strengths and or your weaknesses are. And this is also with the number 5 on an energetic level, having to understand that change is inevitable. So if you've been stiff in those areas that I started out speaking on, then you're needing to learn how to be a little bit more flexible, okay? And you're needing to learn how to be a little bit more playful, yeah, but like strong-willed, and having more of a fighter spirit when it comes to certain things. Here, what's real about the situation, you guys have the Ten of Cups. What's wrong about the situation, you have the King of Pentacles, that stubborn energy, right? Because it's in an obstacle position. And holding on to certain memories maybe of the past. Let's say, for instance, you've been in a situation romantically, right? Because that's what's coming through with someone. And you guys have had like an on-off type of relationship, or there's been those types of power plays. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. Here we go. Where there's been a battle of the ego, if you will, like quien es más macho. type of energy. But like there's been like some power struggles in the dynamic of like who it is that wears the pants in the relationship, instead of understanding that you guys are a team and you're supposed to be working together. You know what I mean? And that both of you guys are powerful in your own right. And again, with understanding what the strengths and weaknesses are, then you're able to appreciate the things that your partner lacks, because inevitably you have them. And that is where you shine, and vice versa. Okay? And also understanding that whenever there is an issue or you guys are having a problem, that you have to address the problem itself instead of potentially being condescending or with this ego and this more so being like that instigating energy. Instead of trying to downplay your partner, talking down on, which then affects their self-esteem and the way that they view you, right? And the way that they then respect you, and as far as the dynamic when it then comes to communication and the way that they speak back. So this is having to be mindful here with this King of Pentacles energy when you're dealing with other people that exist outside of yourself, especially if they come from different backgrounds and or cultures. Having to understand that very heavily with this Six of Wands energy also that comes through. We all have a part to play in the bigger picture. So it's needing to understand what that bigger picture is and being able, again, to put your pride aside in these instances, right? Because talking at someone is not going to make them respect you anymore, especially if you are in a dynamic where you feel like you have the upper hand as far as intelligence is concerned and the things that you know, and the way that you have chosen to apply them in your life, right? And so you feel like you have become more of a teacher to the person that you are to some degree attached to, or you just feel like in matters of your family and friends that you've always been that person where you've served as a mentor. And so you can come off as really sarcastic, or you can come off with this King of Pentacles energy as like, again, like condescending, like, damn, like, how don't you know what it is that I'm telling you? Why do I always feel like I have to explain, you know, and not being humble with that type of power that you've been given. So you're needing to check yourself here. I'm hearing check yourself before you wreck yourself here. Again, and put your pride to the side, because though you are teaching these people, you learn as well. It's always coming from that teacher-student mentality, and also in the dynamic of relationships and having successful, healthy unions with other people. This doesn't just have to be about love here. You're learning because then you learn the different styles and the different ways that you can get a point across, which consequentially, is that a word? Consequentially? But as a consequence of you being like that, then you're able to reach even further, right? And reaching the masses, you can speak to different demographics and really be able to meet people where they are. The resources that are available to you are what sets you apart from the next person, and how far you're able to reach, and just how high you're able to soar in a certain discipline or just in your dynamics with people again, right? So if you, let's just say as an example, you were raised in the hood or you were raised in an underprivileged area, your grocery store more than likely is going to be the Dollar General. It's going to be the Walmarts, you know, the neighborhood Walmarts. It's going to be potentially an Aldi's, if you will, but you're not going to have access to the farmer's market. And there's a difference in the way that the produce is produced, if you will. And so the different chemicals that can be going into the food can affect you on a psychological level, if you will. You will find in certain areas that you reside in that if you go into that grocery store, it's different than, like, okay, I live in Dallas. I live in North Dallas. And so if I were to go out to Frisco, that Walmart is going to have more organically grown produce than the Walmart that would be in, I want to say, South Dallas area, the Oak Cliff area. In Oak Cliff, you will see more of the high fructose corn syrup types of foods, just high in sugar, high in salt. The meats that come out on the shelf, they'll say it's a Tuesday. The meat will expire by Thursday if you don't cook it. You know what I'm saying? So their turnover rate is a lot slower, if you will. So you don't really get the best of the best as opposed to if you were in a different area. So that's the same with learning and circumstances and just overall resources and what comes available to you. So if you feel like, again, you are in situations where you are that mentor and you have it all to give and people just kind of want to suck the life out of you, because I'm kind of also getting that with Wands energy. But that's then where you have to put your pride again to the side and you start trying to figure out how you can get into the rooms of the CEOs or just of, again, the people that you aspirations here, to be like one day. All right. And then that can help refill your cup in a sense. Again, if this is not about matters of the heart. But if it is, then you're just understanding that what your person lacks, you have, and vice versa. You are not perfect. There is no such thing as perfection. And also, just to wrap that point up again and bring it back home with this King of Pentacles, if you've been in a situation with somebody where it's kind of been like that back and forth, where you've had those power struggles, where it's just been on off again, where you guys tend to take a lot of breaks, right? There's been a lot of pauses in your relationship, and from it fully coming together and being at the peak and at its height where it has the potential to be. Part of the reason behind that, right, all about the reasoning, King of Pentacles, is because you've been holding on to their mistakes or the ways that they have rubbed you wrong. It's like your memory bank is full of more of the negative aspects of that person's personality, and so it's hard for you to look past that damn, if you will, to see more success in your relationship. It's kind of like you are subconsciously, unconsciously holding who they are against them and not coming from a place of unconditional love, though you have a copious amount of it to give here. Okay, so this is you needing to learn how to get out of your own head and get out of your own way. So true, because you end out with the Chariot card. That is the outcome card. You need to learn how to get out of your own way. Don't do things just for the return of them as well and what you expect back, which came up in Cancer's reading. So definitely check out that video, because you're ending here. You can be dealing with a Cancer or somebody with heavy Cancer placements. Watch your intention and the way that you give. If you know that there may be an ulterior motive to your giving, then that is what you're going to have to check before you wreck yourself and wreck any other dynamic that you happen to involve yourself with in the future. If you're not with somebody right now romantically, check the motives that you have. We all have motives, because every relationship that you happen to find yourself in or engage in is the word that's coming through. It's transactional in nature, okay? There has to be a give and take. It has to be reciprocal, right? Those one-sided relationships never work out. Somebody always gets burned in the end. So just be careful going forward with how you set those boundaries. And again, lay that framework and set those rules, because this comes down to like what the rules of certain dynamics and things should be. This is like the writing up of the contract, okay? And what you plan to agree to, what you can tolerate, what's unacceptable here. Also, as far as behavior, if you've been stingy, you're needing to release that energy, because that energy comes from the root chakra and you growing up potentially with this Chariot energy and not feeling secure in your environment. So you have to work on that here. You cannot ration love. Otherwise, that's not real love. Okay? So those are a lot of the themes that are coming up, Virgo. If this reading did resonate, then definitely give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends and family. Subscribe if you haven't, and book with me should you need to. But if I don't hear from you, then please do take care of yourself and your soul until you hear from me again. Ciao.